Welcome again, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everybody. Let's begin the verse for the day. Yes. We are, at, we are in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 6. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4, entitled Transcendental Knowledge, verse number 6. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. अजोऽपि सन् अव्ययात्मा भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया. Would you like to try?
I'll try, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropisan prakritim svam adhisthaya sambhavami atma maya.
You. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Ajopi san avyatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim swam adhisthantya sambhavami atmamaya.
Thank you. Thank you. Was that Deepak?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you. Nice to hear from you. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Ajopisham abhoyatma bhutinam ishvaro pishan prakritim shavam adisyatya sambhavami atma mayayam.
You? Synonyms. Ajaha, unborn. Api, although. San, being so. Avyaya, without deterioration. Atma, body. Bhutanam, all those who are born. Ishvaraha, the Supreme Lord. Api, although. San, being so. Prakritim, transcendental form. Swam, of myself. Adhishthaya, being so situated. Sambhavami, I do incarnate. Atma Mayaya, by my internal energy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord has spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything of his many, many past births. Whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. If someone is asked what he did exactly at the same time one day earlier, it would be very difficult for a common man to answer immediately. He would surely have to dredge his memory to recall what he was doing exactly at the same time one day before. And yet, men often dare to claim to be God or Krishna. One should not be misled by such meaningless claims. Then again, the Lord explains his prakriti or his form. Prakriti means nature as well as swarupa or one's form. The Lord says that he appears in his own body. He does not change his body as the common living entity changes from one body to another. The conditioned soul may have one kind of body in the present birth, but he has a different body in the next birth. In the material world, the living entity has no fixed body but transmigrates from one body to another. The Lord, however, does not do so. Whenever he appears, he does so in the same original body by his internal potency. In other words, Krishna appears in this material world in his original eternal form with two hands holding a flute. He appears exactly in his eternal body, uncontaminated by this material world. Although he appears in the same transcendental body and is Lord of the universe, it still appears that he takes his birth like an ordinary living entity. Despite the fact Lord Krishna grows from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth, astonishingly, ash- astonishingly enough, he never ages beyond youth. At the time of the Battle of Kurukshetra, he had many grandchildren at home, or in other words, he had sufficiently aged by material calculations. Still, he looked just like a young man, 20 or 25 years old. We never see a picture of Krishna in old age because he never grows old like us. Although he's the oldest person in the whole creation, past, present, and future. Neither his body nor his intelligence ever deteriorates or changes. Therefore, it is clear that in spite of his being in the material world, he is the same unborn, eternal form of bliss, knowledge, and knowledge, changeless in his transcendental body and intelligence. Factually, his appearance and disappearance are like the sun's rising, moving before us, and then disappearing from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think that the sun is set. And when the sun is before our eyes, we think that the sun is on the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position. But owing to our defective, insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because his appearance and disappearance are completely different from that of any ordinary common living entity, it is evident that bliss, he is eternal, blissful knowledge by his internal potency and is never contaminated by material nature. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unborn, yet he still appears to take his birth in multi manifestations. The Vedic supplementary literatures also confirm that even though the Lord appears to be taking his birth, he is still without change of body. In the Bhagavatam, he appears before his mother as Narayana with four hands and the decorations of the six kinds of full opulences. His appearance in his original eternal form is his causeless mercy, according to the Vishwakosha dictionary. The Lord is conscious of all his previous appearances and disappearances, but a common living entity forgets everything about his past body as soon as he gets another body. He is the Lord of all living entities because he performs wonderful and superhuman activities while he is on this earth. Therefore, the Lord is always the same absolute truth and is without differentiation between his form and self, or between his quality and body. A question may now be raised as to why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. This is explained in the next verse. Many years back, I met a lady uh, who in her opinion, found that Krishna was not a man of good character. She said he married 16,108 women. Uh, Not a man of good character. Seems to be like a very lusty man. And like this was an exchange that I had many, many years ago. Uh, and this lady was of a different faith, and this was her understanding. And fortunately, here's uh, I was doing my internship in a Christian institution, St. John's Medical College. So at that time, this lady was one of the staff in one of the departments. And I had just begun my journey in Krishna consciousness. Um, and then we had a conversation, we were talking about our faith, and then this is what she remarked. And fortunately, at that point in time, I was in Krishna consciousness. I was practicing Krishna consciousness. Uh, I was chanting at that time 16 rounds every day. And I was going to the hospital with my full tilak. But I was wearing the regular clothes. But I do realize that not everybody is very fortunate, that they have a proper understanding of who is Krishna and what are his activities. And when we come across such statements where people make such accusations, it can disturb our faith, our shraddha, and we can get swayed. And uh, and people who are born in God conscious families, and then due to the exposure that the children get, they become agnostics and they become sometimes atheist. They lose their faith. Uh, I remember sometimes having these conversations with my parents on the existence of God, and we were raised. Uh, our parents were believers, but this was so-called the rational thinking that, or you may call it as a scientific temperament that was developing, and we were questioning everything and all the beliefs. Uh, uh, so, uh, generally, people are very simple people. They go by traditions, they go by what they have learned from their families and their culture. Not necessarily they're very well acquainted with the scriptures to defend their understanding. And without such uh, an education, very there is uh, a risk that people can fall back, slip in their faith. So, fortunately, in my case, at that point in time, I was already in Krishna. I was already practicing. I was in touch with Srila Prabhupada's teachings, his devotees, and I was able to uh, reconcile myself. I didn't get an opportunity uh, to get back and clarify, but at least my faith was not shaken by that those kind of statements. And the uh, it is uh, it is natural for somebody to assume when they come across somebody who's had uh, so many wives, uh, that this person is not satisfied with one wife, and he's hankering for uh, more and more women. He's a womanizer. He's and all these kind of perceptions that we see, we hear about. But that is not the case about Krishna. That kind of a conclusion you cannot apply to Krishna. That shows how illiterate one is if they apply the same logic to Krishna. Why? Because the circumstances which led to Krishna accepting 16,108 queens has to be properly understood. Number one, it is an act of uh, great compassion that he showed. It is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. What was the circumstance? There was a demon by name Bhaumasura, and he had kidnapped these princesses from different kingdoms, and he had imprisoned them. And Krishna got to hear about this uh, demon, and he uh, challenged this Bhaumasura. And then there was a battle. There's a beautiful description how Krishna was riding on the uh, Garuda along with Satyabhama. Satyabhama on his back, in the back, and Krishna was sitting on Garuda, and he had single-handedly launched an attack on Bhaumasura's kingdom. And uh, it was a very fierce battle. And Krishna ultimately destroyed Bhaumasura and his kingdom. And at that point in time, as Krishna entered his palace, his kingdom, and these 16,000 princesses who were all kept captive, they were all imprisoned. Krishna set them free, but then they were in great, uh, they were feeling very relieved that the Lord had come. Lord had heard their prayers and had come to their rescue. They were feeling very grateful to the Lord for the blessings that He bestowed upon them. But at the same time, they were also feeling very insecure, and they were also feeling very awkward, because in the uh, in the Vedic society, if a girl were to leave home and stay away before her marriage, then, and especially in all of their circumstances where they were kidnapped, then nobody would marry them. So they were in a very precarious situations. Nobody would accept them. Uh, so they pleaded Krishna that uh, that he accepts them as their as his maid servants. And then Krishna very gladly accepted, and he gave shelter to all these 16,000 princesses, and he married all of them. They became Krishna's wife, and he maintained them in a position befitting of a queen. And he arranged for every one of them to be carried in a palanquin and taken to Dwaraka. And there he arranged an accommodation for every queen. There was a separate palace. Every queen had a separate palace. And Krishna also was not cruel to them in the sense that he would be available uh, uh, to spend time with one queen at one time, and then she has to wait for 16,108 days to again come back to her. No. Krishna, being the Supreme Lord, he expanded himself into 16,108 forms, and he was living simultaneously with each one of them to give them uh, the full experience of uh, a husband. So all of this talks about uh, one, it talks about Krishna's compassion, and number two, it talks about Krishna's uh, opulence. And this is why Krishna is known as Bhagavan. He is known as Bhagavan because he possesses, just like we say, Bhagyavan, Shaktiman, Jnanavan. That means one who possesses. When we say Bhagavan, we refer to one who possesses. Bhaga refers to opulences. There are 6 opulences. One of the opulences is wealth. Krishna is the only person who claims that everything is his property. Whole creation is mine. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. This is Krishna's words. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattas sarvam pravartate. I am the origin of all creation. Everything emanates from me. This is Krishna's proprietorship. Krishna is saying, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Sarvaloka maheshwaram. I am the Lord of all the planetary systems, all creation. I am the Lord. So, somebody may say, okay, 30 by 40 site belongs to me, or 60 by 40 site belongs to me, or somebody may say, okay, this village belongs to me, this island belongs to me. But nobody can say this whole planet belongs to me, leave alone saying the whole creation belongs to me. And that is Krishna's position. So, uh, so here in this particular verse, it's important to note Krishna is giving a insight into his position. He's saying in today's verse, we are seeing about Ajopisan Abhyayatma Bhutanam Ishwaropisan Prakritim Swamadhisthaya Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. This is a very, very important verse in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is talking about the transcendental nature of his existence, transcendental nature of his form, of his body, transcendental. An ordinary person, especially in this Kali Yuga, for him to maintain one wife and few children is a big task. But look at Krishna for every queen. He arranged a separate palace, and that palace had its own uh, big compound where there were lakes, orchards, there were all kinds of gardens, there were so many servants. Krishna was personally available for each one of them. And Krishna gave each one of these queens more, at least 10 children, all of them had. And then they had their children. So uh, we should not be surprised. Why 16,000? 16 million, 16 billion wives Krishna can have because he's a proprietor. All wealth is his. And look at the way he maintained them. The city of Dwaraka was unparalleled in opulence. It was Krishna's abode. Dwaraka was where he lived. So, without understanding all this context, so Krishna possesses unlimited opulences, unlimited intelligence, unlimited powers, because that's the definition of God. That's the definition of God. And that is why here Krishna is saying that whenever I appear in my original transcendental form. Here the word Prakritim Swamadhisthaya. Prakritim is referring to transcendental form. His form is not an ordinary form like your and mine. Our form is a conditioned form, a conditioned body. We are a conditioned soul. Why do we say we are conditioned? Because our body is subject to many conditions. There are so many restrictions. We cannot remain in our youth forever. But Krishna was always Nava Yauvanam. He was always youthful. At the time of at the time when the battle of Kurukshetra was happening, he had grandchildren. But you'll never see a picture of Krishna where he was looking like an old man, hunched back with some walking stick. No, always youthful. Because it's very important to appreciate this so that we know that uh, what is our position and we are dealing with another personality who is of a completely different dimension. He's transcendental. We are also transcendental. We are also his part and parcel, but we are currently conditioned. But he is never conditioned. We are affected by these four defects. What is that? We have imperfect senses. We have a tendency to cheat. We have a tendency to commit mistakes. And we have tendency to be under illusion. Every living entity is subject to these four defects. And we are also subjected to fourfold miseries. Nobody is free from this. Nobody is free from this. We are subjected to old age. We are subjected to disease. We are subjected to being uh, to death and to rebirth. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Every living entity has to go through this in the material creation, except those who are completely surrendered to Krishna. They will go back to Krishna. They don't have to go through this cycle. So, Krishna is not subject to these conditions. Krishna is not subjected to these four defects, nor is he subjected to these fourfold miserable experience of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Why? Because that is his position. Krishna was the Supreme Lord when he was a baby in the lap of his mother, and he was the Supreme Lord as he was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He was possessing full powers even while he was a baby. We have heard about this pastime of how Krishna vanquished this demon Putana when he was just 3 months old. 3 months old baby. And Putana was a very big demon. So, the personality of Krishna is very important that we understand it very carefully. And revealing his uh, Krishna is revealing his identity. Krishna is revealing the unique characteristics of his personality, his form. So these are all very confidential. This is all very confidential knowledge. And this chapter is entitled as Transcendental Knowledge. So it's very important. This is our heritage. This is our heritage, especially uh, those who are from India. This is our heritage. But this is Bhagavad Gita. This is spoken by Krishna. So when we understand this well, then we will not get carried away when people make such uh, shallow statements, which reflects their ignorance, which reflects their lack of understanding of the position of Krishna, and they make such remarks. You will not be disturbed. That's very important. And in the coming verses, we will see how Krishna is going to reveal more about why he appears. We heard here at this point in time, Krishna is talking about um, the transcendental nature of his form and how he remembers every time that he has come here. He remembers all his activities, but we cannot remember what we have done even in this lifetime. Even one day back also we cannot remember, but Krishna remembers. And so Krishna is revealing the transcendental nature of his form. Uh, and and because Krishna's form is transcendental, therefore we worship that form. We don't worship a conditioned soul. We worship Krishna and we worship Krishna's pure devotees. The deity of the Lord is not different from the Supreme Lord. Krishna is such a special person. His form is divine. Even the vibration of his sound, even the vibration of his name is also transcendental. We are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are chanting the name of Krishna And that sound Krishna is non-different from the person Krishna. You see, abhinnatvam namanamino. This is what our scriptures say. Abhinnatvam, no bhinna, no difference between the sound and the person. Krishna is present the moment that his vibrations are. Krishna is uh, his message, his teachings, his pastimes, all of them are very, very special. They're transcendental. The moment somebody associates with Krishna, Krishna's name, Krishna's form, Krishna's activities, Krishna's devotees, then that person's spiritual journey becomes he begins to make tremendous progress in his spiritual realizations. Such a person's doors, he makes very quick progress to becoming himself situated in a transcendental platform. So this is the glory of Krishna. This is the glory of Krishna's message, Krishna's form, and we will discover more of this. And especially in the next verse, we will see Krishna talking about his mission, why he appears, when he appears, why he appears. We will hear more about that. If anybody has any comments or questions, very well.
I had a comment, Prabhu.
Yeah, sure. Yes, sure.
We talked about Krishna's palaces in Dwarka.
Yes,
Dwarka sank beneath the ocean.
yes.
I was just thinking, like, all these palaces were like bedecked with jewels made of gold, and is that all still under the ocean, or because it's like a massive
No,
treasure?
the remains of Dwaraka is uh, uh, there is the remains is still present under the water. There are many documentaries you can see on YouTube about how they cover how a city existed. They found the gate, they found the compound, they found so many artifacts which confirms beyond doubt that there was a city which was now uh, which is submerged. But exactly of um, so to that level, I'm aware there are clear evidences. As far as the palaces of Krishnas are concerned, that we find very clear descriptions in the Krishna book. You are perhaps aware of these descriptions. It is said how each of those palaces were made of marble. They were all marble palaces, and there were and the whole palace was lit with many jewels. There was no need of any lamps or electricity. These jewels would glow. So that is how the whole palace was lit. And each of these palaces, they had a huge compound. There were lakes, there were orchards, there were so many vegetations. Uh, so that was the kind of opulent arrangement that Krishna had made for every one of his queen.
Must have been a massive city then, with all this
Yes,
absolutely
massive,
huge.
very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
huge. Yes,
Mm.
it's Krishna's own family members. You can imagine. 16,108 queens. Each of them had a minimum 10 children, and each of those children, they had another 10 children. So grandchildren them were itself in the entire personal family of Krishna was itself such a huge number. And then there were also others. There's a description about the city and how the people would uh, greet Krishna when he would return after a battle or after he would come victorious, and how different citizens in the city would come uh, from all classes of people would come, take turns, they would offer their prayers, how they would greet him. So this all are very nicely detailed there in the Srimad Bhagavatam activities of Krishna, how his how his city was sometimes attacked by enemies. Shalya, uh, he attacked, uh, and there were a few other demons who attacked, and then how Krishna defended the city, and how Krishna's sons they defended the city. Um and the pastimes of Syamantakamani, the jewel that was gifted by sun god, and different devatas coming to Dwaraka to have darshan of Krishna. These are all described in great details in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it was a very beautiful, very opulent. It was the most opulent city on the planet. And there was an assembly house by name Sudharma, just like every country has a parliament. So that Sudharma was the name of the assembly house. It was originally in the heavenly planets, but was brought by the Yadus out of love for Krishna. So Krishna's clan, they are known as they were all known as Yadus, Yadu Vamsha. So many wonderful pastimes of the Lord.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. And also this coming week is a very auspicious week because this Thursday is the 30th. We uh, we have Narsimha Chaturdashi, the appearance day of Lord Narsimha. It's a very auspicious day. Uh, this marks the day, Advent day, appearance day of Lord Narsimha, who appeared out of a pillar to rescue his dear devotee Prahalad Maharaj, and protected him from his uh, uh, enemy father. His own father had become his enemy. And he was attempting various means and ways to kill Prahlad. And his only fault was he was a devotee of Krishna. And his father, Hiranyakashipu, was very upset that how can you worship uh, Krishna, Narayana? How can you worship? I am the supreme. You should be worshipping me. There is nobody more superior than me. You can see how all the people are all there, my subordinates. Even the devatas, they are all conquered by me, and they are all my servants. And you are worshipping Krishna. And so, so much so, he was so unhappy that he ordered that his son be killed. And Lord Narasimha appeared. Uh, he killed Hiranyakashipu and gave shelter to Prahlad Maharaj. So, Lord Narasimha's appearance is coming soon. And on this day, we mark this day by uh, uh, worshipping Lord Narasimha, offering prayers to Lord Narasimha. He's the divine protector of the Sankirtana movement. He's very affectionate to his devotees, and we devotees keep fast. We fast from, we observe fasting till dusk, fasting till evening, dusk. And then after that, we break the fast with non-grains. And then the next day, sunset, then we can have grains. So tomorrow is Ekadashi, then again Thursday also you're fasting. So that's a day to remember. Any further comments, questions? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.